Hi, my name is Captain Josh Edelman, and I serve as your recruiting officer for Detachment 755 in Puerto Rico. We're going to go through a lot of important things today so you can get oriented on our program and if it makes sense for you. Here on the first page, we have a QR code. This leads you to our Instagram page, and it's a great resource for you because it allows you to see a lot of our cadets, what they do on a day-to-day basis. You can see some of our program, our physical training, as well as our stories in day-to-day life. You'll also get pertinent information. We post our application and orientations and other important information for the detachment. So make sure you follow that page and check out what we do. Today we're going to talk through what AFROTC is. We'll talk about some of the career opportunities and life in the Air Force. We'll talk about our program structure in AFROTC at Detachment 755. We'll talk about some requirements like physical training. We'll go through scholarships and also commissioning. So what is AFROTC? AFROTC is Air Force Reserve Officer Training Corps. The image you see to your right, the gold bar, represents the first rank of an officer in the United States Air Force. This is known as the second lieutenant rank, also known as a gold bar. Why do I have this up here? Well, the goal of the ROTC program is to commission officers into the United States Air Force and Space Force. Commissioning is a path that I will describe shortly, but it is a different path than enlisting in the Air Force. Per the definition, AFROTC is a college-based program designed to train and prepare students to become officers in the United States Air Force and the United States Space Force. In the military, there are two paths you can go down in terms of serving. You can enlist into the service or you can pursue a commission. Enlisting does not require a degree. You can enlist right out of high school and go directly into the enlisted corps of the various branches of the United States Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, and even Coast Guard. Enlisting is a path, as I mentioned, you do not need a degree, and you go into a technical career field in which you serve as a technician, becoming an expert at a specific task or operation. Becoming an officer is a completely different path, one that requires leadership, bravery, confidence, and the ability to critically think. An officer oversees a large group of people, they manage a lot of big-time decisions, and they get involved in many large projects. There's a heavy burden of responsibility for an officer. There's a lot of things that go into it, and it requires a specific type of person with a specific set of traits and character in order to become a commissioned officer. Certain career fields require one to be a commissioned officer, such as being a pilot or a rated career field. In order for you to fly airplanes, you need to be an officer. So just a little bit of a background on the rank structure of the United States Air Force is this picture right here shows the various ranks of officers. Starting all the way to the left, you have a second lieutenant rank. This is the first rank in the officer progression in the Air Force. After 2 years, you would promote to first lieutenant. After another 2 years, you promote to captain, and then after several years, you continue promoting based on the boards that you meet. Major, lieutenant colonel, colonel, and then when you hit the stars, you are now in the general series of the officer grades. Down below is a picture of the enlisted force structure and their ranks. In the top portion, you see the various ranks of the Space Force. In the bottom portion, you see the various ranks of the Air Force enlisted corps. This is very important to note because you will need to know the difference between enlisted and officers. Officers are the ones who receive salutes from the enlisted corps. Officers also return those salutes. Those are some things we'll talk through when you learn in this program. Some interesting facts. There's about 330,000 active duty members in the Air Force. Of those, 266,000 of them make up the enlisted corps, and then only 64,000 of total active duty members are officers. What does that show? That shows you that very few officers are in charge of the entire Air Force. Officers are in charge of a lot of people and they have a lot of responsibility. A couple common misconceptions about Air Force and the Air Force ROTC program. And I'm going to start this off because a lot of people want to know this right up front. The Air Force ROTC is not the Army. Air Force is an entirely different culture, organization. We have so many different career fields, different places we live, we get stationed at, we deploy to, than what the Army does. The Army is entirely different. While yes, we wear similar uniforms and we serve under a common purpose for defending our country, we are entirely different organizations. Do not think that the Air Force and the Army are the same. You are not enlisting. As I just described, when you come into Air Force ROTC, you are not enlisting. You are a full-time student inside of an Air Force-based program allowing you to work towards a commission. You are not enlisting. You are not in the military until you are contracted. This is a step we'll talk through shortly. But you do not fully enter the military until you receive a contract to be in the Air Force. And that typically occurs after 2 years of being in the program. You do not receive a scholarship immediately. Many people, many students want an immediate scholarship to help pay for tuition while being in ROTC. That, unfortunately, is not the case. You have to earn your scholarship, and that typically occurs after 2 years of being in the program. We'll talk through scholarships on another slide. You do not have to be a pilot. The Air Force has so many different career fields that you can choose from. You are not required to be a pilot, nor do you have to be a pilot. You do not have to be a pilot to be in the Air Force. You do not have to be knowledgeable of being a pilot to be in the Air Force. There are so many different career fields that you can choose from and go into that do not require any knowledge about airplanes and being a pilot. This is a quick overview of our faculty known as cadre. These are the military faculty here at the detachment. To the left, we have our commander. He is the highest ranked individual and he oversees the entire program. His name is Lieutenant Colonel Robbie Modad. To the right of him, we have our operations officer, recently promoted Major Timothy Olinger. To the right of him, you have myself. I'm Captain Edelman. I'm your recruiting officer and also serve as the education officer. To the right of me, you have Technical Sergeant Padilla. He is the Director of Personnel. He's also an instructor. And to the right of him, you have Technical Sergeant Maldonado. He's our administration manager. All of us are here to help you and serve you in your progression towards becoming an officer. A couple bits about the Air Force and the careers you can choose from. I'm not going to go through every single one. You can certainly look this up on airforce.com. But as you can see here, a couple of pictures of various career fields: medical, pilot, you have helo pilots, you've got special warfare, you've got doctors, nurses, and all different types of career fields. On this next slide, you can see, I'll move my picture over a little bit. You've got operations career fields that are typically your rated or more operations-based career fields. You've got maintenance and logistics, so you can oversee large maintenance groups or munitions and missile maintenance. You can work in logistics. You can work in communications or information operations. On the right side, you've got various force support functions, civil engineer, public affairs. You can be a chaplain. You can work, if you're interested in law and you're working towards your JD, you can become a judge advocate for the Air Force. You've got acquisitions and various engineering career fields, finance, administration, and there's a lot more. I encourage you to check out airforce.com as well as the Space Force. Some of these career fields are dual merged into the Space Force, so you can do these career fields in the Space Force as well. We also have a nurse corps in the Air Force. The Air Force loves and needs more nurses. These are a couple of the nurse career fields that you can pursue. Feel free to pause this video and look through it. I'm going to go to the next slide, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Okay, we're going to talk through a bit of life in the Air Force and the benefits. Some of you want to know immediately what your salary might be if you commission into the Air Force. Well, as a brand new second lieutenant right out of college, starting your active duty career, the salary above is what you make on a monthly basis. This is your monthly salary starting out. This is active as of July 2025, and these numbers can shift year to year. As you can see, the number is $3,998.40. Not only do you receive this as your basic salary or your base pay, you also receive a basic allowance for housing known as BAH. This number depends on where you live, and depending on that location, you may receive more or less in order to help support you finding housing, whether you rent or buy a home. For example, if you live in California, which is very expensive, in Los Angeles, you may be receiving $4,000 a month just for housing allowance. $4,000 plus this salary right here, plus another allowance called basic allowance for subsistence, which helps you offset some costs for food. Now, as you go through the ranks and the years in time and service, you increase your salary. So 2 years after commissioning, you promote to a first lieutenant. Not only do you have a higher pay for that promotion, but you also have more time in service, which now gives you a larger salary, as you can see in that yellow box. You could see the various pay scales as you promote through the ranks, as well as serving in the Air Force. You can see this on AFROTC as well. It's public knowledge. Feel free to browse through this. Remember, there's the enlisted categories and then there's the officer categories. This is the officer categories you want to look through. Lots of benefits I'll allow you to look through on AFROTC. You have insurance, which covers your entire insurance, you and your family. You've got dental insurance, you've got dental coverage, you've got food and housing. A lot of you may have shopped or heard of Fort Buchanan. That is one example. When you get to shop on a base, it's government businesses and houses, and you are able to receive a lot of items tax-free. You also have a great retirement system if you serve 20 years or more with a pension. You've got education opportunities, tuition assistance that pays for additional degrees, master degrees. You have a post-9/11 GI Bill, which again is another form of tuition assistance that helps pay for various degrees, or you can pass it on to your family members. You've got 30 days paid vacation per year, plus all of the holidays and days off. You have ample time in many cases to take off and to travel. You've got recreation facilities on bases and family services. You've got a lot of career broadening opportunities outside of your career field. Lots of great opportunities. I'll leave you to do your research. Let us know if you have questions. Okay, again, more pictures. I'm not going to go through these, but feel free to look through them online. Now let's talk about the actual program of you being a cadet in Detachment 755. What are some of the requirements? If you're interested in being a cadet and pursuing a commission, first thing is you have to enroll full-time as a student in one of the participating universities. I will send out a link if you are interested that shows all the participating universities, and I believe we may have a slide here coming up, but you need to be attending one of the universities to receive credit and be a part of this detachment. You have to be studying an undergraduate degree or a graduate degree. The scholarship that you may want to receive only covers undergraduate degrees, and we'll go through that in a minute. You're not disqualified from the program if you have already completed an undergraduate degree, but you will need to be a full-time student. And that requirement is sometimes difficult for 4 years in which the program is. 4 years is what is required to be in the ROTC program. In some cases, you could pursue a 3-year program if you have very high credentials and you meet our qualifications, but either way, you must be a full-time student during your graduate degree. You have to be 14 years or older. You must be of good moral character without excessive civil involvements. There is a process in our application that vets through that. There is a process in our application in which we vet for that, and you have to complete all parts of the application. It is a large homework assignment, and if you do not do that, you will not be enrolled in the program. Here we go. Here's a slide of participating universities. I'll leave this here for you to pause. If you do not attend one of these universities, unfortunately, you are not able to be enrolled in our detachment. There is another detachment in Maya West that might be able to accept you, but otherwise, we cannot accept you if you do not go to one of these universities. What do you do during the 4 years? Well, the first year, and really the first 2 years, are known as your general military courses, or GMC years. This is where you learn the basics of the Air Force, the military. You learn about followership. You're essentially trying out the military and learning a bit about it to see if it even makes sense for you, if it's something that you want to continue pursuing. You do need to be a full-time student, as I mentioned, and you need to maintain at least a 2.0 GPA. The time commitment. We have 1 hour of academic class per week in which you enroll for aerospace studies class. You have a 2-hour leadership laboratory which occurs every Friday, and we'll talk through the schedule here in a minute, as well as 2 hours of physical training every week. 1 hour in the morning on one day of the week and another hour on Fridays in the morning. We talk about customs and courtesies. You learn how to march, how to wear the uniform. You learn about the rank structure, the Air Force organization, the policy, and all the things needed to have a basic foundation of Air Force knowledge. After your first 2 years, you are not obligated to continue in the program or serve in the Air Force. You can decide to leave at any point during those 2 years without any obligation. At any point, if you say, I don't really like this isn't for me, you can leave the program, no questions asked. If you are interested in pursuing the Air Force, around the end of the second year, you will be up to compete for a contract. That contract allows you to lock in a position and continue on with your degree and your pursuit to commission. After that second year, assuming you get selected for that contract, you go to field training, which is similar to the boot camp experience that many people see in the movies. You do this in Alabama at Maxwell Air Force Base, which is the headquarters of Air Force ROTC. Here you get evaluated, you're put in stressful situations, and you have all different exams and tests with all other students and cadets from all over the country to see if you can make it through. If you make it through this, you return to the detachment to finish out your last 2 years. These last 2 years are called the Professional Officer Course years, POC. This is where you begin to lead the cadet wing and you emulate positions of real world officers taking lead and taking care of airmen. And so in these roles and capacities, you are organization, you are running the cadet wing. You now have 3 hours a week of academic class. You have 2 hours of leadership laboratory on Fridays, as you did your first 2 years, and you have 2 hours of physical training, so twice a week, just like your first 2 years. You now have more topics, including leadership, team building exercises. You have case studies. We talk about U.S. policy, air and space operations, doctrine, overall national security, and all different topics that will develop you and prepare you to be an officer. There are 3 major parts to ROTC that I like to summarize. The first part is attending your aerospace studies classes. Feel free to pause this video. These are the course codes for our UPR, Rio Piedras, and then also UPR network that you can seek a permiso especial if you do not go to UPR Rio Piedras. There's also going to be new codes coming out for Inter-Bayamón. If you attend Inter-American Bayamón, you will be able to enroll as well on a transcript. If you do not go to those classes, you can still attend ROTC, of course, and be an ROTC. You just won't be able to have it on your transcript for official credits. Otherwise, this is the class that you will attend once a week in your first year, and then you can see the other classes for the next 3 years. The second part to ROTC is the physical training aspect, and this is extremely vital to your success and to your ability to commission. We do this at the UPR track here in Rio Piedras. You have to attend 2 times a week, Monday or Wednesday, and always on Friday. So you can decide between Monday or Wednesday, but then everybody comes to physical training on Fridays. We start at 06 in the morning and we finish at 07. That way you have time to get showered, cleaned up, and go to class. We have constant physical fitness assessments. This consists of push-ups, sit-ups, and a 1.5 mile run. We train you on how to do proper technique, and we train this every day and every time at physical training. So if you are not fully competent at these skills yet, start training, start practicing, look up videos on how to do stuff, but we will also teach you and help you prepare to pass the physical fitness assessment. You do not need to pass the physical fitness assessment in order to enroll and begin your journey in ROTC. The third important part of ROTC is the leadership laboratory. This is our hands-on field experience and occurs every Friday from 09 to 12. This is a mandatory laboratory and there are no exceptions. You must attend this. We cannot excuse this. You have to be here. This is where we have various activities and training sessions such as drill and ceremonies, customs and courtesies. We do a lot of leadership and team building exercises. We have communication and planning skills exercises, and we also have opportunities to have career days and base visits in which you may be able to travel to another base or location and learn about the Air Force. Outside of these 3 major components of Air Force ROTC, we also have a lot of other opportunities in which you get to travel to other places, fly in gliders, do a jump program, free fall skydiving, engineering programs, space and cyber operations, helping out at field training, all different opportunities that you can be a part of if you are in this program. We also have a local aviation school partnership in which you can learn how to fly an aircraft and potentially seek your private pilot's license, all paid for by Air Force ROTC. Feel free to ask us about those programs. They come up every year and we authorize them to our cadets. Those who work hard and put out great effort get access to these incredible programs paid for by the Air Force. Once you are contracted after 2 years and you commit yourself to serving in the Air Force and continuing your degree and pursuing your commission, you also earn a cadet stipend, which is a per month payment depending on the year group you are in. If you are in the AS300 year group or your 3rd year in most cases, you earn $450 a month. This is to help offset costs for books or what have you, but it's your money. You are getting paid by Air Force. Your last year, you receive $500 per month. Again, this is a great opportunity. It'll help you out with school, tuition, whatever you like to use that money for. Let's talk through a sample schedule. If you are a brand new student, there are 2 days a week that you can choose to come to class, Monday or Wednesday. Just like PT, you can come Monday or Wednesday for your first physical training session. Day 1, for example, if you decide Mondays work better for you, you come to physical training from 06 to 07, and you go to class from 8:30 in the morning to 9:20. About 50 minutes to an hour long session of class, and then you can go on with your day. Your second day of the week would be Friday, which PT is mandatory for everybody. PT from 6 to 7, and then you have leadership laboratory from 9 to 12. Physical training, how can you prepare? A lot of people ask, what do I need to do to get ready? What can I do to be excellent in my physical fitness? These are 2 charts, and you can look this up online if your age is outside of these ranges. But for males, the 1.5 mile run minimum passing score is 13 minutes and 30 seconds. You need to be able to do at least 30 push-ups and at least 42 sit-ups. We will teach you the technique, but again, you can look these up online to learn how to properly do it and get the correct scoring. For females, the minimum passing score for the run is 16 minutes and 22 seconds, 15 push-ups, and 38 sit-ups. Feel free to pause this slide or look it up online for more charts. We also recommend you study. There is an exam called the AFROTC, the Air Force Officer Qualification Test. This is a requirement for you to commission. You must pass the verbal and quantitative section of this exam. There are various portions in this exam. Verbal and quantitative are the mandatory portions you must pass in order to continue on in the program. Many students, especially in Puerto Rico, have difficulty with the English language section of this exam. We highly, highly recommend you begin studying now. You can find books online, you can find practice exams, you can make practice AFROTC tests online using AI platforms such as ChatGPT. But the key to this is you must start studying now. Practice every single day. This is the most difficult step for all of our students in Puerto Rico to complete. A lot of people are incredible candidates. They have great grades, they have great physical fitness, but they can't pass this exam, and therefore they cannot continue in the program. And it's a shame, because if only they had studied a bit more, they could have had an incredible career and continued on in the program. Your first semester in ROTC, you will receive this exam. You have 2 attempts to pass this exam. If you do not pass it the first time, you have 1 more chance, and that is it. There are very few exceptions or waivers. You must study. There is no exception. So start studying now if you're serious about being in the program. Let's talk a bit about scholarships. A lot of you hear information about scholarships if you join ROTC, and yes, that is true. If you are in high school, 10th, 11th, or even 12th grade, or going into 12th grade, you can apply for a scholarship called the High School Scholarship Program, or HSSP. You must apply to the scholarship before 1 December of your senior year of high school. This information is online, and you apply through the HSSP program online, and this allows you a full tuition and full ride scholarship to the university of your choosing if you are selected. It is very competitive and very difficult. All the instructions are online. Feel free to let us know if you have questions. For those who are not in high school or do not want to apply for this scholarship, there is another scholarship called the Brigadier General Charles McGee Leadership Award, also known as the CMLA. After 2 years of your time in ROTC, if you receive a contract and make it through field training, you are entitled and authorized to a tuition of $18,000 a year, or you can use that for $10,000 for housing assistance. So you get to decide if you want to use $18,000 to help offset tuition, or $10,000 to help housing if you are staying in university housing. This is an incredible scholarship, and many of our cadets take advantage of this. Again, this is only available if you meet the requirements of receiving a contract, keeping your GPA at least a 2.5, passing the AFROTC, being medically certified, which is called DOBMERB, and also passing your fitness test. This is a summary of everything that goes into the program in terms of you being able to commission. Commissioning refers to the process or the ultimate goal of becoming a commissioned officer. You're an officer in the United States military, in the Air Force, and Space Force. One, you have to complete your degree. So you were a full-time student in an undergraduate or graduate program. You need to complete that entire degree on time in the 4 years. You must have a passing fitness score. You must pass the AFROTC verbal and quantitative portions. You must be a U.S. citizen, and you must pass your medical qualifications, as well as all the other requirements in ROTC program that lead you to this point. You need all of these items complete in order to commission. I'm sure you may have more questions, but I encourage you to look things up online. We have our website, we have information on our Instagram, and of course you can reach out to us directly. If you have not done this QR code, you need to sign up here in order to receive information and in order for you to be put on our distro so we can get the application out to you. So if you are serious and you want to either learn more or get the application to join us, you have to scan this QR code and complete the form in its entirety. I'm here with any questions. I appreciate your time, and let us know what questions and concerns you have. We look forward to seeing you at Detachment 755. Thank you.